じようなところがあるんです。そんな自分を変えたくて。
Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord, and today we're here to talk about the newly released game, the Idolmaster Shiny Colors Song for Prism. Shiny Colors originally launched in 2018 as an idol simulation game for browsers and later was released on mobile. The game featured very unique gameplay given that most of the games similar to it were rhythm games, but also had an initial learning curve that made it very challenging, especially without any prior knowledge of raising stems. Song for Prism is meant to be a new experience, combining idol simulation and rhythm gameplay into one cohesive experience. It's arguably easier than Shiny Colors, which we'll refer to as Shiny Moss, but I do think that there is some learning required to understand the game, and that's why I'm here to help you today. This starter guide is meant to be just that, a starter guide. I don't know all the details currently, but by the end of this, you'll at least have the basics down. The game is divided into two sections, the Produce mode and the Rhythm mode. The general gameplay loop is to make Fess idols in the Produce mode, which you can then use in the Rhythm mode to get the highest score possible. Characters will appear in both Produce idol and Support character formats. We'll cover both of these roles more in depth later in the guide. First off, let's talk about producing. This is the main meat and potatoes of the game, if you will. First, you have to pick a production episode. The production episodes are currently based off of the scenario events from Shiny Moss, aside from Cometic. You'll play through retellings of each event, slightly shortened and reimagined for the new 3D style. Each unit has their own individual episodes, and you can only use idols from the chosen unit in their episode. Each episode plays out slightly differently because each unit has their own style you'll have to adapt to as a producer to achieve the best result. However, there are some universal things to keep in mind. You will have 3 seasons with 7 weeks each in your Produce episode. Your goal is to raise your unit's stats through schedule management, earning Produce cards, and using your deck of cards to pass lessons and auditions. Auditions happen on the 7th week of every season. Maximizing your resources is key to success here. It can be very overwhelming due to the game's very quick tutorial, so I'm going to try to explain what everything does as best I can.
Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas!
First and foremost, there are regular lessons. These will give you a bonus in one stat: vocal, dance, visual, or mental, while also increasing your other stats to smaller degrees. It's generally a very balanced way of increasing your unit's power. They also come with a challenge mission that will give bonus stat points to one of your idols, usually significantly more than all the other idols in the unit. Please keep in mind that the stat increases you see are multiplied by the number of idols you're producing. So, if the lesson says vocal with some number plus 9, that would be 3 times for illumination stars, so it would translate to plus 27. This goes for every other option on the schedule as well. The only exception to this are challenge missions, which the featured idol will get a much more significant stat increase if you clear the mission. In lessons, you will have to use card decks to appeal to the judges. We'll cover this more a little bit later. The system itself is not complicated, but it can be very frustrating if you don't understand what's happening. Luckily, you can retry a failed lesson as many times as you want. Clearing a lesson will also let you choose a Produce card for your deck as well. There are also possible SP lessons and consultations available. SP lessons are used to improve the rank of your Produce cards, and the option will level up the more you do it. Consultations allow you to delete Produce cards from your deck, if you feel like one card is holding you back, and making you less effective. From other player experiences, consultations will not show up on easy mode and are only available on normal and hard. Next is work, or oshigoto. You will have the option to choose between 5 different jobs. A radio appearance, which affects your vocal, a TV appearance, which affects your dance, photo shoot modeling, which affects your visual, a commercial appearance for your mental, and magazine coverage, which is a balance of all stats. Work will give bigger increases than lessons, but you will also have to deal with the trouble gauge now. Just like in Shiny Moss, your trouble rate increases the lower your stamina is. Everything that you do, aside from resting or taking time off, will reduce your stamina, raising that trouble gauge. Be mindful because a higher trouble rate means a higher chance of failure. Next, there's self-training. These will give a big boost to your vocal, dance, or visual stat, but will not give you any new cards for your deck. They also consume more stamina, so picking supports that decrease the amount used can be useful if you're going for a more stat-specific team. Lastly, there are outings, shopping, and off days. All 3 of these will restore your green stamina bar, but to varying degrees. Taking the off option will give you the biggest recovery, but nothing else. Shopping will give you a smaller recovery in comparison, but it will also give you a stat-specific card and more fans. Outings will give an extremely small amount of stamina back, but will grant a random stat gain and a random produce card, or a random fan gain. Outings are kind of like a scratch-off ticket. Don't expect too much, but if you're somebody that likes to gamble, it could maybe pay off in a small way. You have to combine all of these options to create the best route to success. Generally speaking, if you want to raise your stats, self-training is the most effective option but has the highest stamina cost, while lessons are the best option for improving your deck. There is also a magazine strategy as well. In this strategy, you quickly increase the level of the magazine work option, since that will increase all of your stats at the same level at once. It's particularly good for building Fess idols with higher stats, since the live mode only cares about overall power and not the particular breakdown of it all. If you complete all 3 auditions, you'll unlock a memorial live at the end of your run, which will show various scenes from the story section of your episode. Doing better and getting a higher rank will show even more scenes, so your memorial live really has the potential to be different every single time as you improve and become a better producer. As mentioned before, you'll be using Produce decks to complete lessons and auditions throughout your Produce episode run. Each unit has a unique and completely different playstyle and deck, so understanding how they work is crucial to success. Let's quickly cover each. Illumination stars are focused primarily on play points, or PP, and cost manipulation. The goal is to repeatedly appeal as much as possible while keeping your PP cost as low as you can. They also benefit a lot from cards that buff your appeals. Antika has a focus on lowering your mental to get what's called pinch status. Pinch status, or having lower mental status, is the key to activating their bonus effects. So the goal is to balance staying alive at low mental while also trying to do the most damage possible while not getting put into a mental break, otherwise losing all of your HP. Mental breaks happen when you run out of HP, and you'll be unable to appeal for a set length of time. This can happen to every unit, but Antika, by nature of their deck, runs the highest risk of it. Hokago Climax Girls' deck are one of the few times where size matters. The goal is to have cards of the same stat stacked together in your hand to have very strong appeals afterwards. They also have cards that increase your maximum hand size up to 7 as well, making them easier to use, so you should prioritize those when building up your deck. Alstroemeria are focused on high mental as opposed to low mental like Antika. They want to stay in safe status by contrast, meaning you need to make sure you're constantly healing and granting yourself mental guard effects to stay in the most optimal position. Their strongest appeals, which scale in strength according to how high your current health is, will inflict self-damage on use. which is why staying safe is so important. Their appeals aren't that strong, but they're also not that cost heavy either, so as long as you keep your health high, you should be able to chain your appeals together quickly for strong firepower. Stray Light works off a counter system. There are 3 counters, for vocal, dance, and visual respectively, under your mental bar. Some of Stray Light's cards will increase either one specific counter or all 3 at once, which is then followed by using their appeal cards while your counters are high to maximize the appeal strength. Most of their cards are actually very low cost, so you have to pay attention to your counters and make sure that you're timing out everything correctly for a huge finish. Noctchill's evasion tactics make a return in Shiny Song, which can make them a hard unit to use if their deck is not set up properly. First, you want to make sure you have your evasion chance as high as possible, using your lower cost appeals that grant you chances to evade attacks. Then, you will have cards in your deck that either do bonus damage based on how high your evasion is, increase your evasion even further, or give bonus effects based on how many times you have evaded an attack. It can certainly be a lot to keep track of, so just play patiently, and things will all come together as you make your way through your deck. Shiz has a phase change system, which depending on if you're in Nichika phase or Mikoto phase, different effects are activated. While you're in each respective phase, some of their cards are double cards, meaning that they'll change entirely if the phase changes. There are some cards that work based on how many times you've changed phases too, so the key is to move back and forth between these phases while keeping in mind who currently is in control to maximize the effect of your appeals. Lastly, we have Cometic, who some claim is maybe the hardest to work with. On the most basic level, they appeal by either excluding or banishing cards from their deck, or appealing based on the number of cards that have been banished. Luca primarily focuses as your play starter, while Hana and Haruki are the cards that will take advantage of the cards that Luca has banished. They're the only unit who don't share gimmicks between each other, so keep that in mind as you put the deck together. For comparison's sake, Mono and Meguru might both have a 0.5 appeal, just for a different stat type. Cometic members do not have that same circumstance, so keep that in mind. To make things easier, the game also features an option to auto-produce after you've already cleared the episode on 1 difficulty. You have a variety of options to choose from with auto-produce, such as which stat you want to focus on, if you want any cards to be deleted from your deck, so on and so forth. You also have the option for auto-lives in the live mode as well. Keep in mind both of these options are limited per day, so use them wisely. And, if you're playing on PC, you're unable to do anything except for auto-lives. Team building in Shiny Song is a bit hard to describe. First, let's make something clear. When you finish producing, you actually get both Fest Idols and Fest Units. Fest Idols can be individually mixed and matched for your rhythm game to help you reach the highest score. Fest Units, on the other hand, are used for one of the never-ending events of the game, Challenge Tours. Challenge Tours is effectively a tower mode. You'll be faced with a series of rival units that, if you're able to beat them, will net you various prizes like jewels and upgrade materials. However, these rivals can be challenging, and will require you to build a deck to counter them in the Produce mode. Each Produce idol comes with base stats, an idol skill, and a potential live skill that you'll randomly get when they become a Fest idol for the Rhythm mode. As you increase the idol's awakening skill, they will gain access to additional idol skills that are either more powerful or will have better synergy with your Fest team. Produce idols range from 1 star to 5 stars. You can only scout up to 3-star idols in the gacha at this time, which can then be upgraded to 5 stars using materials. Increasing their stars will unlock additional skills, bigger stats, and allow you to increase their current skills further. Because there is a very limited pool of idols currently, There isn't exactly a hard recommendation on what exactly is the most optimal to pull for or to invest into, so just go with your gut for the time being. Support characters, on the other hand, have various effects related to your produce schedule week by week. Firstly, every support character has a favorite schedule, aka where they are the most likely to show up. Second, they have support effects that influence your schedule as well. Finally, they have potential support skills that can give you bonus effects, typically during your lessons and auditions. While produce idols are a bit more free-form, picking the right support cards is crucial to your success. However, don't think a higher rarity automatically means you should use SSRs only, because all support characters can have their max level increased by 40 levels. Rare goes from 20 to 60, while SSR goes from 40 to 80, meaning that even rare cards can be used to make powerful teams as well for the time being. An important thing to remember is that when producing, support effects aren't actually activated until you spend some time with that support character. Sometimes support characters' icons will turn orange, which means that their support effect will activate if you choose to spend time with them that week. Every character in the game, except for Hazuki, has 3 statuses: idol level, trustworthiness, and fan count. These stats are increased through producing, doing live shows, or even limit breaking or master training produce idols and support cards respectively. Idol level will increase your basic stats across all versions of that character, making it easier for you to produce in the future. Trust level will unlock idol stories, costumes, and gives you more Prism jewels. It was unclear what fan count did initially, but with the addition of Illumination Stars' second produce episode, it seems that having specific fan counts will also be necessary to unlock more sub-seasons as the game progresses. Let's go over produce cards and their abilities now. Each produce card will have 1 or 2 icons on the left-hand side of it and a brief description of what the card does. There are 9 universal symbols in the game that every card will have at least one of, so let's talk about what they all mean. A light green star. Appeal point cards that fill up your appeal gauge. Orange arrows. Buffing cards. Cards that grant some sort of effect, but not necessarily points. Pink with 2 cards. Generally speaking, these will pull cards out of your deck, but the exact effect depends on your unit. Think of these like draw power. The teal hexagon. Affects your play points in some way, usually increasing the amount or making it recover faster. Purple arrows. Your debuffing cards, which has a negative effect on your rivals. 3 white men. Blue square fast person. Increases your chance of evasion, mostly unique to Nocchill, but you can get general produce cards with similar effects for other units. Green heart. Either recovers your health or increases your mental guard. Mental guard blocks damage from rival idols. Red broken heart. Decreases your own mental state. Gray exclamation point. A unit-specific unique effect that can't be found anywhere else. Now, let's appeal. During lessons, auditions, and challenge tours, your appeal cards will appear at the bottom of the screen with an aura surrounding them. A green aura. This card is ready to use. Think of this like a normal appeal from Shiny Moss. A blue aura. This card has had its effects enhanced somehow. For example, if you used a Vocal 50% up card previously, then you drew a Vocal Appeal card from your deck, the appeal card would then turn blue. This is essentially a great appeal. A gold aura. When a card turns gold, not only has its effects been enhanced, its bonus effects have also been activated as well. We can think of this like a perfect appeal to make it easier for you. A red aura. This indicates that a card has been weakened, which usually means the rival team has debuffed you in some sort of way. You want to avoid using red cards as much as possible, as this is effectively a bad appeal. The game recommends you prioritize green and gold appeals while using blue appeals as well with their enhanced effects. Now that you have a basic understanding of all these systems, let's go over some general tips for producing that will benefit you no matter which unit you choose. 1. Check out what the sub-season requirements for your chosen unit are. Sub-seasons are special events you can activate in your produce run that will give you bonus stats and access to high-level schedule items early. For early units, Produce Episode 1, the Summer Camp, is a sub-season event which requires you to reach a certain stat amount before the end of Season 1, based on how many idols are in your Produce unit. 2. While it is not essential to success, high-star rarity Produce idols will have higher starting base stats. 3. You are allowed to bring a friend's support character into your run with you, and SSR Hazuki is currently one of the best cards for general use due to her variety of stamina-reducing support effects. 4. Be conscious of your stamina. Lower stamina increases your chance of failing. Unlike in Shiny Moss, you do not have the option to rest whenever you want, so you have to plan out when you're going to take your days off or go shopping in advance. 5. Pay very close attention to what cards you're adding to your deck. Your play point charges at a rate of 1 per second, so every card counts, and you don't want to have to waste time drawing out new cards because you're overcosting yourself from your hand. Otherwise, you're going to be finding yourself very stuck and have nothing you can do. Balance it out. Find a tempo of sorts. 6. If you want to make stronger Fest idols for the rhythm section, prioritize raising your stats. Your starter deck will be pretty good for just making it through the run as is, as long as you have some way to add a strong appeal every now and then. This next part is the rhythm game section, where you can watch your idols shine on stage. Shiny Song is not a particularly hard rhythm game, which helps to balance out some of the difficulty of the Produce mode. While I can't necessarily teach you how to play a tap-tap game, there are some things you should know. The energy system in this game is called LB. You can use more than one LB to increase the amount of live rewards, experience, and fans you get per song. This game features both auto lives and skips, allowing you to make material grinding much easier. Normally, you can only increase it by 5, but certain in-game events like the recent Metal Gacha will let you increase it by 10. I should also mention that you don't have to produce in the game at all to enjoy the live mode. You likely won't be able to SS score rank any of the songs without producing, but it's ultimately up to you how much that bothers you. One of the unique aspects of Shiny Song is its technical and score rating systems. You see, Shiny has an incredibly large timing window, meaning it is nearly impossible to miss a note unless you actually don't tap on the note at all. Instead, you are incentivized to hit the notes as perfectly as possible to increase your technical rating. This is a cumulative rating across all songs that will earn you more jewels and other prizes as you hit the notes perfectly in each chart. Your notes are also rated on if you hit them too slow or too fast, or if you swipe the wrong way on a flick note. There is also a high score rating system, which works more or less the same way, just focused on how well you score in songs. Even if you are able to full combo and all perfect every song in the game, there's no way of increasing your high score without building powerful Fest idols. Auto lives do not count towards your technical or score ranking, and the only way to participate if you're playing on PC is through auto lives. Let's quickly go over live skills. Every Produce idol in the game comes with potential live skills that you will randomly get at the end of your run. The skill you get from each idol is randomized based off of the potential ones you have available from your Produce idols. However, you can swap the skills between the idols as well, which makes the process much easier if you're trying to build Fest idols for lives. You can enjoy a variety of music videos for every song in the game, where you can watch the idols shine on stage. Do keep in mind, however, you have to get a Produce idol to 3 stars to actually unlock their outfit. As the game has not been out for that long, we're unsure of what all types of events will be available, let alone the schedule. we'll briefly talk about the 3 event types we've had so far. The first event of the game was the Akanero Drawing event with a Produce Idol Rinzai 2-star as the reward. This was a rhythm game-based event, where you earned gacha tokens based on how well you scored in songs, which could then be used in a token gacha to get the aforementioned Rinzai, character fragments of her, and upgrade materials. You could even get Rinzai from 2 stars to 5 stars from just the event rewards. Just be mindful to not hit the blue button at the top of the screen. For whatever reason, they decided this will move you on to the next box without any warning. Think of this like the box event that is available in Shiny Moss. Just slightly different in terms of how you accumulate your points. You could also increase the amount of points you earned by pulling for featured units, which were at the time Rinzai's 1-star, Hokago's initial 2 stars, their new Dreamin' Supporter 2 stars, along with event outfits to coincide with the event, and the 2 Rate Up 3 stars at the time. Next, we have Challenge Tours, which we're calling an event, but currently has no end or reset in sight. It's effectively a tower mode where you will use the Fest units you've created to compete against a series of rival idol units for prizes. There are specific missions for each team, so you're asked to build your Fest units around them, such as do 12,000 points of vocal damage. Each unit has their own challenge tour route with a total of 30 missions and 90 stars to earn, and the difficulty level goes up significantly as you go. So, you will likely need multiple uniquely created Fest units to clear the whole thing. This mode also gives a lot of jewels, so it's highly worth investing time into. There is also a New Stage Added tag on the event screen, so expect challenge tours to be a constantly updated aspect of the game that never goes away. The second event type so far in Shiny are the timed limited missions. To celebrate the release of Illumination Stars' second Produce episode, bonus missions were added to the game to earn a copy of Hiyori's new Twinkly Cheerful 2-star unit, among other rewards too. These missions are listed as an event type, so it's currently unclear how often they'll pop up. They don't last long, so pay attention to them when they arrive. Shiny Song has a dual gacha system, one for Produce idols and one for support characters. First, there are Platinum Gacha. These feature only the initial cards of the game and allow you to use Platinum Gacha tickets, which are effectively free pulls you can earn from events or missions. You honestly should never actually spend jewels on these outside of the free ticket gacha, because the main purpose is to help you farm prisms. Prisms are the primary way to level up the star of your character and limit breaks that take place in this game. In Shiny Moss, you had to pull 5 copies of one card to get it to its maximum potential, which with Shiny's somewhat brutal gacha rates could be a near impossible task to do for free or without using supplementary materials. Instead, in Shiny Song, prisms are exchanged for character pieces to increase their limits instead. The SSR rate in Shiny Song is 5%. And so far, we have gotten 2 Produce idols and 2 support characters at the same time. So if you're someone who likes a lot of different characters, it may be best to save your jewels for potential limited banners, though we've had no limited banners so far. Hopefully this guide has been helpful for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. My wish is that a new generation of Shiny Colors fans are born from this game, and hopefully, if you like this game, you'll also be willing to give Shiny Moss a chance as well. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Cho. Have a wonderful rest of your day.